I think we've given everyone as much time as we need to give them to turn up for today's exciting presentation. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Throughout the main presentation, all of the attendees will be muted, but you will be able to ask questions via the text-based mechanism that's built into GoToWebinar. We will be recording the webinar today, including the Q&A period. So if you're a bit bashful, ask your questions via the text-based system, and we'll address those during the Q&A period of the presentation. And with that, I think I'll hand over control to Kelly Carden and ask her to take you through the QX IP PBX and Gateways sales training session. Thanks very much for your time, everybody.
Thanks, Craig, for the great introduction, and thank you guys very much for your time. I know everybody's really busy, so thanks for coming and learning about our new QX IP PBXs and Gateways. We're really excited about them. So what we're going to go through is a little bit about Epygi. I don't know who's familiar with Epygi as a company and or who's not. So we'll go a little bit through that. Then we'll go through the new IP PBX line, the free features, and then the enterprise features, and then the line of gateways, and most importantly, how the Quadros and the QXs compare. And then Craig will finish with the QX introductory offer and the NFR program. So a little bit about Epygi Technologies is that we are here in Dallas, Texas, in the United States. We are a privately held U.S. corporation founded in 2000. We are completely debt-free and profitable. The majority of our employees are in our Plano, Texas office, which you can see on the top picture. We do sales, marketing, technical training, and obviously stock all the product here in our Dallas, Texas office. The software testing is done in Yerevan, Armenia, which is the bottom picture that you'll see there. All of the product design is done in the United States, and we test all of our products before they go out. That's why for anyone that has used a Quadro before, we have an extremely low RMA rate. Last year it was 0.01%, which is pretty unheard of in this industry. And the reason for that is because we test every single product before it goes out. So with that said, some of the benefits of Epygi Technologies is that all of our products uniquely ship with all of the unified communication features turned on, as well as we are completely open standards. So we work with all major SIP telephones. We work with 10 major brands, obviously all the ones that, that Alloy carries, including Ulink, Polycom, Snome. So all great phones, but gives you a lot of flexibility in that. Additionally, we have not changed our company strategy, and we are not charging for annual maintenance or software upgrades. We have no plans to do that, but we definitely encourage all of our resellers to build that in as part of their recurring revenue. And a great way to make money on the product is so that way basically what you would get is you would sell the equipment, but then you're making continual yearly maintenance basically revenue off of it, because we aren't charging you anything after the sale of the system. Then the next thing is our line of IP PBXs, in that we are now going to from 1 to 2,000 extensions. So before we could only go up to 1,000 extensions, but we were seeing a lot of people wanting to stack the products and get up to those larger counts. So now our systems can go up to 2,000 extensions. As well, with the new product design, we have kept what's good about the Quadro product, which was that we supported traditional analog telephones and PSTN ports on them. In addition, what we've seen is that, which I'll go into a little bit more, is that we're seeing a lot of people adding the surveillance and paging devices to diversify their product offering. I will talk about more about how to do that. But as well, with all of our products, we still have network and security functionality, including a basic router and VPN capabilities. So on to the line of QXs. So we've made the naming of the products very simple in that the number behind the QX denotes how many extensions you can have off of the system. So QX50 would be 50 in that you basically take the analog phone count, which in the case of the QX50 is 2, and you start with 16 IP phones, and you can scale all the way up to 50 total phones. So that would be 48 IP phones and 2 analog phones. As well, we can do 16 concurrent calls on this product, very similar to the Quadro 2x2. So this is the Quadro 2x2's replacement in that you can see that it has the exact same price as the Quadro 2x2. In addition, what we have added, which we didn't have on the Quadro 2x2, is that you have an audio in and audio out port, and we did add an SD slot for increased memory. One thing that I would mention as well, too, is you can see from the picture that all of our products are now in a metal enclosure. And just to give you guys an idea of the size, they're about a size of a brick. So they're thinner than a brick, but about the same width as a brick. The next product is our QX200, which we actually launched at the IT Expo in Las Vegas in August, and we won Best On-Site Launch out of all the other products that were, that were being launched there. So we were really excited. This product as well is the Quadro 4L's replacement in that it has the same price. It still has the 4 FXO ports and the 2 analog phones that you knew on the Quadro 4L. However, this one actually starts with 24 IP phones, and it scales all the way up to 200 IP phones doing 64 concurrent calls. So if you need products like the 8L, the M32X, all you would do is basically add our gateways, which I'll explain a little bit later, but you can add more FXO or E1T1 gateways onto this system in order to make it similar to what you were used to with the 8L or the 32X. But the good thing is that this has all the functionality of the 8L, minus those additional ports. So the QX2000 is similar to the QX1000 in that it is server-based. It does start with 200 IP phones, and it can scale all the way up to 2,000 total phones. In addition, this product does have the hot standby feature in that it will continually copy over the latest configurations, and all you would do is buy the server redundancy licenses, so that way all the licenses would be turned on in the slave system. So the next thing that we'll go over is the free features. So anyone that knew the Quadro products, you still know the QX products. So all of the same features are still available. The things that people need the most, like Find Me, Follow Me, unified communications, like voicemail to email, fax to email, T.38 fax support, hot desking, remote backup, so that way you can email yourself the latest configurations. All those are still available, and they're still all free with the QX product line. The other feature that I would mention is that we do have iCall, which is our iOS and Android application. And basically what you would have with that, Craig, could you change the slide for me? Sleeping on the job over there. I'm just teasing. So basically we have, what we have here is our iOS and Android application. At one point, iCall was something that you had to pay for, but we have made it free now. What this will allow you to do is make a call from iCall, so it looks like you're calling from the system. From like the Quadro or the QX rather than your cell phone. So it's a great application for people like doctors, lawyers, anyone that wants to protect their privacy of their cell phone number. The next feature that I would mention is we still have the Quadro configuration. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go over the surveillance support quickly here. In that probably the biggest market that we're seeing now that people are doing with the Quadros and the QXs is adding surveillance support to the system. It's definitely a natural migration because, companies, if you're doing telephony and their network and their computers, they're thinking, well, shoot, can't you just do surveillance while you're at it? And Epygi makes surveillance support very easy in that any kind of IP camera, IP door station, IP video phone, anything like that is just an extension off of any of our PBXs. So what makes it nice is that you could put cameras into a paging group over multi-sites, and then you could, page over multiple cameras. You can have a door station, so that way, like, you don't need a receptionist. People could just, obviously ring a doorbell, and it would call to a phone or a group of phones. So lots of flexibility in what you can do with that. If we do have more information on our website about surveillance support, but I would definitely give it a look if you guys are looking to diversify your product offering, because Epygi makes it really easy. Next slide. So additionally, we did have the Quadro configuration console, and we still do have this with the QX line. What's nice is that with the QCC, you can still look at a network of QXs and Quadros off of one single desktop PC, and you can do, automatic backups and, see which systems are online or which systems are offline, so that way you're not having to individually look into each of the systems. And then the next thing that we'll talk about is our licensable features. So all the same licensable features that apply to the Quadro are still available on the QXs. We haven't changed the prices. The prices are all the same. The only difference is that what we've done is that the smaller units are now able to do those licensable features. So that way, even a company of 20 or below could have call recording. So the first one, and the other thing that I would mention, if you're not familiar with the way that we do our licenses, is it is a one-time license fee. You never pay us again for the license fee. All we need in order to activate it off of a system is either the unique ID, which you can get off of the GUI, or the serial number, one or the other. We don't need both. So the first feature that I will go over is the desktop communication console. What this allows you to do is see who's present, see who's busy. You can drag and drop. You can automatically transfer to a voicemail. So really nice tool for receptionists, but it can be used company-wide if you want to do instant messaging or anything like that. The next feature that we have is iCall mobile toggling. So what this is basically you would download iCall for free, but you would add the mobile toggling license, which allows the user to alternate a call between their iPhone or Android and their desktop phone when using iCall without the call being dropped. So really the caller on the other end doesn't even know the handoff, but it just allows for that mobility, whether it's people coming in and out of the office or whatever that might be. The way that this works is that it is tied to an existing extension. So for example, the QX50 can do up to 50 or 48 IP phones. So you could potentially buy up to 48 iCall mobile toggling, and we do it in packs of 4 or 8 users. The next slide. The next feature, which is available for all of the QX products, is our auto dialer. Really nice feature for anyone that has doctor's offices or places that are continually making outbound calls to remind people of appointments, bill pay, anything like that. So for the majority of the time, we see people using this for like doctor's offices, pharmacies, car dealerships to remind people of payments. But basically what it does is it takes a Excel file and it starts to call through it and play a pre-recorded messages. And then the call clients can be prompted with a few choices to respond to the information delivered by this automatic call. So like maybe press 1 to confirm, press 2 to change, all of that. Next slide. Then the nice feature that we also have is our automatic call distribution. This is probably one of our most popular features in that we're seeing more and more people who are doing smaller call centers but want to have that capabilities of seeing reports and being able to see, how many agents are taking how many calls. So with automatic call distribution, it's just a one-time turn on, turn off the license. So once you turn it on, every person off of the system could be part of a call center if you wanted to. We have different ways of presenting the calls to these agents. Probably the most popular is the skills-based, where we do an algorithm so the agent who has the highest composite skill grade will receive the call. And that's really what we see most people doing. I know that it is definitely an advantage because companies like 3CX, although they do have ACD, they don't have skills-based, and most call centers are going to want to do the skills-based routing. So in addition, for the ACD group features, we do have different ways in how we can present welcome and queue messages so they can play periodically. They can be very flexible, and they can be uploaded either as a WAV file or an MP3 file using the Epygi media streamer. In addition, what we'll also see too on the next slide is that we have, anyone can be as like a call center agent. They could have an analog phone, they could have an IP phone, whether it be local or remote, or a PSTN or a soft phone. So lots of flexibility in that. And as well, they just simply log in and log off by dialing *83. So it's done right on their handset, which is really nice. The next feature, which is actually one thing that is included with our ACD, is the statistics and monitoring software. So basically what it is it's a real Windows-based tool which displays real-time details on the call center. This is real-time, so we have a lot of people that flash it up on dashboards or computer screens, so that way managers can monitor what's going on real-time. So definitely a nice little feature on that. The next one is Bargain. So really nice feature as an add-on. So that would be either, listen, whisper, Bargain. We see this being added a lot to our ACD feature. Or you can just use it as a standalone feature. So either way, it's just a great training tool. Then the next one, which obviously probably this is our most popular feature, is call recording. Unsure of what the laws are in Australia. They are state dependent here in the U.S. So obviously definitely want to make sure you understand those before implementing. But with call recording, the way that we do this is based upon simultaneous calls that you want recorded. So the first one is the QX50. So all we care about whenever I talk to resellers who are speaking to end users, what I ask them is, okay, at the highest peak of your, of call recording, how many concurrent calls would you want recorded? So, and then that's how you're going to figure out how many ports that you want to sell. In addition, the recorded files, they can be WAV files using G.711 or saved or viewed back locally on the GUI, or they could be dumped after a certain time period to an FTP server, all of that. So lots of, flexibility on the way that call recording is done. The next one is our audio conference bridge. So what you'll see with this is that basically same concept as the way that we do call recording, in that we don't care how many conference bridges a company has. Like, for example, in Epygi, each employee has their own conference bridge, so that way we never overlap one another. All we care about is how many people are on those given bridges at one single time. So, for example, the QX200, you could have, four conferences of 8 people going at each time, and you would be able to do that. As an add-on to the audio conference bridge, we do have video conference bridge. So, you always want to be clear when you are selling the video conference bridge that you also have sold the appropriate amount of audio conferencing ports. So with this, basically what you'll see is that, anyone on a video-capable device, whether it be a laptop with counterpath BRIA, like a soft phone that has video capabilities, or maybe a video phone on their desk, the system will detect the loudest speaker, and then they will switch to the video stream within 2 seconds to show that speaker. There is also a manual video switching mode too. So with that said, those are the licensable features for the QX line. Anyone that sold Quadro, you definitely would be familiar with those. The next thing up is our QX line of gateways. So same capabilities as before, in that we still have the built-in router, the firewall, the VPN, the auto configuration between the QX IP PBXs and the gateways. So the first one is our QX FX04. So very similar to the Quadro FX04 in that it still allows you to do 4 ports. So this is, you could add this onto our PBX, onto another capable PBX, whether it be 3CX, or you could IP enable a legacy analog PBX by connecting the FXO ports to FXS extensions. So the next one, but same price as the FXO before. So obviously we're showing you MSRP USD, but Alloy can provide you the Australian conversions of those. The QX ISDN4, similar to the ISDN gateway that we had before, and it can support TE or NT mode, and it can also provide power NTE mode. So the next one as well too is our QX E1, or I'm sorry, the FXS24. What you will see on this is a dramatic drop in price. Pretty, that should work out to be around 1,300 Australian dollars, or Australian currency for you guys. Sorry, I don't know what the equivalent to a dollar is over there. But with this said, we do have 24 ports, which can allow you to connect to our PBX, or you could put it on another SIP-enabled PBX. We are in the process, like next-gen products, we are making a smaller FXS gateway, like around a 4-port and an 8-port FXS gateway, because we are seeing a lot of ITSPs or hosted providers wanting to have FXS gateways. So that is our next plan for product. And lastly, we do have our QX E1T1 gateway, which you'll notice is a significant drop in price as well too. And it still, handles the 30 channels for the E1 and 24 channels for the T1 of compressed G.729 codec. So the next thing that we will talk about, so what you can see in there is we have substantially dropped the product line from 13 products to 7 products. So 3 PBXs, 4 gateways, very simple. And the best part with the QX product is we have come up with a whole new organized GUI. It's very simple, a lot cleaner. And Craig, if you can just open that link and admin 19 for the password. I think at the top. Oops. And we're going to just show you very briefly the GUI. Obviously, Alloy can provide you the link to play around with a hosted system so you can kind of see what the new GUI is, as well as I know that they are getting ready as well to do some training classes, which I'm sure they'll provide you guys more detail on. We also, as well, Epygi has technical webinar trainings that are available. I know that they're not super helpful on the time due to the time difference, but definitely encourage you, to take advantage of what Alloy will be offering for that.
Sorry, Kelly, looks like we're having some technical difficulties with that one. I think the problem's probably our end, but we'll be running. We'll run some more technical webinars going through this interface later in the year as the product becomes available.
Yeah,
okay, I'll
no
let
problem.
You get back to it. Thanks, Kelly.
Yep, no problem. And but what you'll see here, just from the screenshot, it's very clean in that you have the navigation bar on the left-hand side, and then it opens up to like a tree format. So once you click on one button, then it drops a lot of different levels. As well, what you can see on the screen is that each of the different selections has a short description next to them. So that way, for people that are learning the system, it gives you a lot of detail about what the option is going to allow you to do. So with that said, we've gotten lots of great feedback on the new GUI. People really like it. But the thing that's nice is that if you do know the GUI from the Quadro, you will not be lost on this one. It's just more organized, but same features, same naming, all of that. It's just in a way better updated format. So next advantage, if you can go on to the next screen, is our rack mounting kit. So we're super excited about that. So basically the new concept that we've come up with is that the product itself is really meant to mix and match. So, instead of having so many varieties of PBXs, it's up to you to build, the PBX that your customer wants based upon how many ports, whether it be FXO, E1T1, FXS, or ISDN ports that the company would need. So basically all of our products now, 4 of them will fit into one 19-inch rack mount kit that would obviously fit into a data server. All of our products individually will come with a wall mounting kit, so that way if you wanted to, you could put it on a wall. But if you wanted to put it in a server, you could get the rack mounting kit and you could slide the products right into that. As well, what you'll see is that way you can build mix and match gateways, PBXs together. And we have the DC power cables, which allows you to have power redundancy. So for example, Unit 1 can light up Unit 2, and Unit 3 can light up Unit 4. Or if you have both Unit 1 and Unit 2 powered, and Unit 1, for example, the power goes out or the cord, something happens to the cord, then Unit 2 is going to power Unit 1. So definitely a great way to kind of mix and match but make a very cohesive system. And it looks super clean. Everybody's really excited about the rack mounting kit. So just to kind of summarize, the improvements of the QX products is that all of the licensable features are now available on all of the QX IP PBXs. In addition, the QX gateways can have a master slave for the configuration and can be configured from the QX IP PBX GUI. So for example, you need a 4-port T1 gateway. You would be configuring all 4 ports of the T1s off of the master QX gateway. In addition, all of the QX products do work with Quadro products. And then the next slide. So one thing that I would mention, as we have been getting questions about it, we do have stock for any, of the Quadro products to replace any RMAs that may still be withstanding, out there, as we do have a warranty process in place. So if you do need if you do have an RMA, obviously Alloy has stock to help you with that, as well as Epygi has reserved Quadro products. However, we are seeing a lot of resellers, especially in the United States and Europe, who have basically pulled their Quadro list, and they have gone back and maybe they sold them the Quadro 7+ years ago. So they're going back and they're contacting all of their Quadro customers and saying, hey, look, the Quadro products will support 5.0XX, software, but the QX products are going to support 6.0 software. So you're going to want to upgrade the system. And this just allows you to be proactive, give them a new system, allow them to grow more, whatever. But with that, we do understand that there is a conversion process in place. So we have put together the Epygi QX conversion tool, which basically you will send us the latest configuration of the Quadro that you want updated, and we will give you the brand new QX configuration so that way you're not having to go back and reprogram everything. This is like an overnight process, so it's very easy to go and plan. But like I said, if you do have an RMA in place, we will be replacing it with a Quadro, either from Alloy stock or from the U.S. stock. So definitely something that I would mention to you guys. It will be in our newsletter, a description of the conversion tool tomorrow, so definitely keep an eye out on that. But lastly, for me, and then I'll pass it back over to Craig, is some of the competitive advantages for the product is that all of our software and hardware is designed in-house. All of the firmware and software upgrades are free for life. Because we are open standards, we work with major SIP brand telephones as well as all the surveillance products like I talked about. Really what most people like about our product is the excellent support that we give on the product. In addition, all of the S&B feature licenses are very easy to quote, and most of the features are already turned on in the box themselves. So with that said, I will turn it over to Craig.
Thanks, Kelly. Fantastic job as always, and there are a couple of surprises in there even for me. I'm looking forward to getting in front of some customers and talking about this product range. I think you guys have done a great job with it. And to celebrate the release of this new range, Epygi are funding a couple of special deals. So there's the introductory special that I'm going to talk about very quickly, and then there's the NFR program. So the introductory special is for every QX 50, 200, or 2000. So that's any of the QX range of PBXs purchased in October or November. You will receive the 8-user iCall mobile toggling licenses. That's for eight extensions, 4-port call recording, so 4 ports of concurrent call recording capability, and barge in, which is a license across the whole box. So that's over $1,000 worth of value in licenses, and that's all provided for free. And again, this is being funded and supported by Epygi, so I'd like to thank Kelly for putting this package together for us, and I'll look forward to see the response from you guys in terms of whether you can use those. With the NFR program, again, Epygi are funding some significant discounts for the October-November period for NFR hardware. Now, the NFR product has always been a big seller for us, particularly with the Epygi, because it allows our end users to use it for anything from in-house, for demonstration purposes, or even to keep it in their support cabinet for backing up a failed system on site, going out and bailing that customer out. And demonstrations, as we all know, product demonstrations are a key part of a successful sales process with voice over IP and PBXs these days. So again, NFR program and the introductory specials are available for October and November. They're fully funded by Epygi. This isn't being supported here locally by Alloy. It's fully funded by Epygi, which the upside of that is the discounts are deep and the free software is great. The downside is that this will not be available after the end of November. So We won't be able to offer this to you on the 1st of December if you're a bit late getting that order in. The NFR pricing there, so NFRs are available across the PBXs and the gateways. The pricing's there. If you've got any questions, there's my email address. Don't hesitate to send it to me. If you've got any orders, don't hesitate to send it to me. But NFR pricing and launch specials available until the end of November. So guys, with that we're going to move into the Q&A session. I think Kelly's done a wonderful job, so I won't be surprised if there's not too many questions. One question I've got here to deal with up front is about the number of concurrent calls. That concurrent call count is for the outgoing calls only. You have unlimited use of internal calls between extensions. So the limitation on the number of concurrent calls on the individual PBXs is related to concurrent outbound calls to your SIP service provider. So guys, with that, we'll open up the floor. If you've got any questions, indicate by using the raise your hand icon on the GoToWebinar interface, or drop the question into the text-based question interface and we'll deal with those there. So Kelly, I'm going to open up your line here. I've got a question here that I'm not sure about. I hope you can answer.
Okay.
With the iCall.
Yeah, I feel like it's a test, right?
Yeah, it is. We'll put you under the pump. But you know, I have faith. With the iCall feature, can reception transfer a call to a user's mobile directly, or is it only via the user extension?
Yeah, so it would only be the user extension, because iCall's not really a soft phone, so it's not like, yes, it is tied to someone's extension, but you would still have to have a desktop phone. What you could have, obviously, in order to accomplish that, is basically having an extension and then find me, follow me set up, so that way when when the extension doesn't pick up, then it's going to transfer out to a cell phone or some other number. But if they don't answer, then it would dump back to their work voicemail and not their cell phone voicemail.
Fantastic, Kelly. Well done. You pass. So we've got another question there about the security on the platform, re-hacking, etc. So I'm going to address that a little bit first up, Kelly, and if you've got anything else to add, just chime in. So first of all,
okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, the Epygi package has had for some time a security wizard. That security wizard was one of the really powerful little tools that Epygi put in place, and I think it was actually as a result from some requests from Australia. And what that security wizard gives you the ability to do is, when you finish configuring a unit, you can run the security wizard and it will go through all the options you have set up and come back and tell you whether you've done anything stupid, whether you've left international call routes wide open without any security on them, whether you've put in weak extension level passwords, whether you haven't changed default passwords, all these sort of things. Also, it has a stateful firewall built into the box. It has a number of other features to detect attempted hacking attempts and to blacklist attempted hackers. The Epygi platform and the security on the Epygi platform is one of the key selling features for Alloy and Epygi of this platform. And to my eyes, it is the securest and easiest to use security of any PBX platform in the market. That's my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly? I would definitely. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the compliment on that. I mean, honestly, why we worked on the security for so long was because our company our own system, 5 or 6 years ago got hacked, and we were having crazy denial of service attacks, and that's why we put in the blacklist, where if the system is being pinged by a certain IP address, it's automatically just going to block that IP address because it sees it as a denial of service attack. Now, obviously, if it is a good IP, you can go back in and you can unblock it. But for the most part, it's usually going to be a bad IP address, trying to attack your system. The other thing, kind of cool about the system is there is actually a rolling tally in our security wizard, which will show you how many like bad attempts or security hacks or whatever that we have blocked in that one system. So it's just really cool to see, how well the system is working as well too.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. Very well put. Now, I've got an inquiry here from one of our resellers and one of our favourite resellers asking about that conversion tool, whether it'll be available via Alloy or whether it'll only be available in the Epygi offices out of Dallas.
So it will actually be available both out of the Dallas office as well as our Armenian office. So actually Armenia themselves will be doing it. So it will be closer to your time zone than it will be to my time zone. So actually you guys would benefit more from it than my U.S. resellers. So it will be done through our support ticketing options, in that you'll be able to open a support ticket and obviously attach that configuration, and then we would send it back to you through that. But it will be done on Armenia time rather than Dallas time.
Fantastic.
Which is basically, I don't know what that time difference is, but basically the way that I remember it is that I take 2 hours off of mine, so it would be 4 p.m. here, and then I switch a.m. to p.m., and there you go. So Craig, you can tell them more so what the time zone or what the time difference is from Armenia than I can.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that because I still get, there's still a possibility I set my clock the wrong way at daylight savings time. So, but
right.
So a couple of points about that though. If you're in a service recovery mode where you've had a unit failure, you shouldn't be looking at doing a conversion, because, as I said, both Epygi and Alloy will support the current product, current Quadro, with unit replacements rather than QX replacements. So if you have a Quadro MX32 that needs to be replaced, you'll be replacing it with an MX32. And secondly, the Alloy tech support people will be more than capable in walking you through the new configuration options from a technical standpoint. So the conversion tool will be handy when doing on-site migrations.
Yeah, so the conversion tool, I'm sorry. So the conversion tool is more so as a sales technique, in that it allows our resellers to be able to more so upgrade the Quadro to the QX. So it allows you to go back and upsell your customer. But for us, while it can be done very quickly, and maybe you might want to replace a Quadro with a QX, it's never really meant for like an RMA replacement. I mean, with an RMA replacement, you're going to get a Quadro rather than a QX. So the QX is really more so for like a sales planned, installation where you're going to go in after hours and replace it. And obviously, we always encourage you to upload the new QX configuration from Epygi before you go on site. And as always, Alloy and Epygi will be there to help you with that conversion and new configuration.
Excellent. Thanks, Kelly, as always. Very succinct and clear. Just looking through to see how we're going with any additional questions. Nobody appears to have raised their hand. I think we've dealt with all of the... Sorry, go on, Kelly.
The one thing that that I would encourage people to do is we have a new website. Obviously, that includes the QX products. It's very slick in that we modeled it after the Apple iPhone website. So the home page, we've gotten lots of compliments on. But what you will see on the website is that we do have the new QX products listed there. We do have all the technical data sheets, all of the feature descriptions. However, we do have a few quadros left to sell. Whether that's what we've done is basically we have allowed there to be some overlap. So, for example, people may have quoted a deal 60 days ago and they're now closing on it, and they don't want to have to go back and resell a QX, which we totally understand. So all the Quadro products that are still available for sale are still listed on our website. If you wish to purchase those, that's great. We have reduced the price starting November 1st on the Quadro M32X and the E1T1 Gateway, so you can get with alloy on those prices. And then lastly, with that being said, all of our Quadro products that we have end of life, we will still support the software for 5 years. So there's absolutely no concern if you've sold a Quadro, 60 days ago, you haven't sold your customer an outdated, nothing like that. You are still able to buy licenses on it. You're still able, to sell a warranty on it, all of that. So we definitely encourage you to still continue to support your Quadro customers with the updated software, as well as continue to sell them feature licenses.
So Kelly, just before we wrap up, it looks like we've got one more question come in. Somebody has asked whether or not they'll be able to receive details for that demo website to have a look at the user interface, or is that or will we wait until their user manuals and all those sort of things available?
Yeah, so good question on that, and thank you for whoever asked that. We do have a hosted system in-house here in Dallas. The link on the presentation that Craig and I gave today does work. It's just admin 19, so we definitely encourage you to go look around, play around with that. All of the manuals for the QX products are listed now on the channel portal. So you have now access to the manuals, or you have access to a hosted system. The nice thing that we've done about these manuals is that there's one manual for all 3 of the PBXs. So it's super simple. You don't have to download multiple manuals for different products. So it should make things very nice.
Fantastic, Kelly. That's good news. So everybody, this presentation and the URL for that demo site, along with the recording of the presentation, will be available on the Alloy website sometime in the next 24 hours. If you're keen to get access to that or access to any of the NFR and release specials, contact myself. That's craig.harrison@alloy.com.au, and I'll get you that information sooner. Well, with that, it doesn't look like we've got any more questions there. I know it's out of office hours there for you, Kelly, and thank you as always for doing a great job. But with that, I think we'll wrap up, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and thank you guys so much for all your time. I know everybody's super busy, so look forward to helping you guys, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm always available on email. So,
thanks, everybody. Speak to you next time.